Hi everyone. In this lecture, you will create a Docker image from your Twitter to Kafka service and run this microservice with Docker along with the Kafka cluster Docker compose file that you have created previously. So in the end, you will run all your current components inside Docker together. To create the Docker image, you will use Spring Boot build image property. Spring Boot provides this build image through the Spring Boot Maven plugin. So let's go to the POM.xml of Twitter to Kafka service and add the build image call to the Spring Boot Maven plugin. This way we will be able to create Docker image for our microservices when we run the Maven install command. Here in the POM.xml file of Twitter to Kafka service, we will update the Spring Boot Maven plugin section, and in the configuration part, we will give a name to our image. We will use project group ID /Twitter to Kafka service, and as the version of the image, we will use project version. Then in the execution section, we will give the phase as install, because we want to create the Docker image when we run the Maven install command. And as a goal, we will set build image, which will actually create the Docker image for us. Now if we go and run Maven install commands from the microservices demo folder, it will first compile and build the project, and after that we will see that it will also create the Docker image for us. Note that it might take a while at first run because of downloading the build pack dependencies. One more thing to note here is that when we run Maven install commands, it will also run the context load test. And currently when the context loads, it will try to reach to Kafka in the test. And since we don't have any Kafka mock running on tests, we should first run a Kafka cluster locally before running Maven install command. Or we can simply use Maven install with skip test option to skip the context load test so that we can install dependencies and create the Docker image. Here we use Spring Boot build image property to create the Docker image. Spring Boot build image follows layered approach to prevent two overheads. First, it prevents creating a single fat jar. And second, if there is an update, there will be no need to update the whole jar, thanks to the ability of using caching. This is achieved with the help of cloud-native build packs. You can check about build packs at buildpacks.io. Then you can use them to create Docker-compatible images that you can run anywhere. Here the point is that Docker image is created with a layered approach, and layering is designed to separate the code based on how likely it is to change between application builds. Library code is less likely to change between builds, so it is placed in its own layers to allow tooling to reuse the layers from cache. Application code, on the other hand, is more likely to change between builds, so it is isolated in a separate layer. So by reusing the layers during image creation and caching the results, we got faster results during our builds. Having created the Docker image, let's now create a services YAML file in Docker Compose folder, which will include the Docker image for our Twitter to Kafka service. Here we see that we can simply override any configuration variable. For example, for the Bootstrap servers, we use the Kafka broker 1 from Kafka cluster YAML file instead of localhost, because we will run everything inside Docker. And to be able to reach to Kafka from our service, we should use hostname, because inside Docker, all these containers will act as different hosts. We can now use Docker Compose -f common YAML, -f Kafka cluster YAML, -f services YAML up command to run everything using Docker. However, I will use the environment file to set the YAML files using compose_file variable, and then use a single Docker Compose up command to start all containers mentioned in the environment file. As you see, this is handier than mentioning all YAML files in the command. After running everything using Docker Compose up commands, Let's use the docker ps command to check if all containers are running. As you can see, the status is up for all of our containers. 3 Kafka, 1 Zookeeper, and 1 schema registry, and one of the containers is our microservice, Twitter to Kafka service here. Let's now use the Kafka cat command utility to check everything works. When we run Kafka cat command with -l option, we will see that a new topic, Twitter topic, is listed in topic section, which is the topic that we created in our microservice, Twitter to Kafka service. And for that topic, we have 3 partitions and 3 replicas. We can also check the logs for individual containers. If you copy the container ID for our microservice and then run docker logs container ID command, you will be able to see the logs for our container. And if you want to follow the logs continuously, you can use -f option here in the docker logs command. Let's also use Kafka cat with -c option to use the Kafka cat as a consumer and give the Twitter topic as the parameter. In that case, we will be able to see the tweets in Kafka cat console. Now, please stop the video and stop and run the application again with mock tweets enabled. This time, you need to change the variable through services docker compose file. And then please check the results in Kafka topic using Kafka cat commands. Now, if we override the enable mock tweets property in services YAML file and set it as true, we will be able to run our application using mock tweets. Simply stop the current running Docker containers using docker compose down commands, and then run it again using docker compose up command. After that, we can see the mock tweets in our console using docker logs command, and also with the result of Kafka cat command line utility. Let's now add our changes into local Git repository and just commit everything. And then we are good to continue. Congratulations! You really did a great job so far and completed the first microservice. While we were experiencing modular development, Kafka architecture, and Kafka producer, along with Spring Kafka and of course with Spring Boot. Alright, I will see you in the next section.